And we are live. Hi, how are you doing today? Welcome to Unfiltered number 5. This is the space where I come in a more organic, spontaneous way to have discussion, bring up discussions, bring up ideas, and talk about various subjects. And these days, it's a lot about being a highly sensitive person in this world. And today I'm going to talk about something I didn't expect I'd be talking about this, but here we are. So, first of all, let's see what is going on here. Anybody here? Where are you from? It's always lovely to know. So, have you noticed that as highly sensitive people, we seem to have two modes of existence? Hang on, something is popping up here. Capture moments? No, thank you. Okay, that we seem to have two modes of existence, of going through life. And those two modes seem to be pushing and then crashing. And first, I'm wondering, anybody listening here live or in the replay, please write it in the comments. Does that resonate with you? Like, do you see yourself in that thing that you push yourself, your body, your nervous system kind of pretty hard, and then you do it until the point where you collapse and you need to restore and you need time on your own? So I have certainly noticed that this is very real for me. That is like a total pattern for quite a while. And I was wondering, um, because I started, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but I started this new non-challenge challenge on Annie's Circle where I'm showing up 28 days. It's the Because I Love Myself project. I'll tell you a little bit more later. But I did it again, like worked really hard, even though it was what I call the holy hustle, because it was like divinely inspired to do this. But I did it again of pushing myself until now. I would love to collapse for a few days, but it's not going to happen. But I'll find a way to. This is the purpose of the video. So first, I want to talk about a little bit, why is it that so many people are in that category? Maybe, hi, Liz, the Iron Maiden. Thanks for saying hi. There's a few reasons, but we live in a society, first of all, first reason I want to bring up is we live in a society that has taught us. I know that for me growing up, maybe it's not the same now, I think, for younger generations, but me growing up, the model and the expectation was, hi, MJ, I, Ellen Lee, 9671. The model and the expectation was hard work equals success. And hard work meant, like, if you're not putting in your blood, sweat, and tears, it means that you don't really mean it, that you're not into it and it's not going to work. And you're kind of not displaying like a strong determination or personality. And interestingly, to this day, again, I don't know about younger generations, but for many of us who listen to me, who are here together, we sometime in our life, and for me, even now, I catch myself when I say, oh, I worked so hard for this. There is, I don't want to say pride, but it's like I am giving myself value, or my project or my days value, if I can say, oh my God, I'm working 12 hours a day. It's really crazy. There is some kind of weird external validation that comes from that. And when you think about it, it should kind of be like in a healthy society with healthy models. It should kind of be like a little bit of a shameful admission. It's like, oh my God, I pushed myself until, I couldn't take it anymore and I have no work-life balance and all that. And it should be in a healthy society, it should be something, oh, then you need help, or can you please help me? I'm really working too hard, and I know that this is not the best thing for me to do. But no, we feel a great amount of pride, and society reflects that back to us. It's like somebody who's a go-getter. You have people like Diary of a CEO guy, Stephen something, sorry, I don't remember his name, uh, but saying that for several years he didn't go out, he didn't play, he didn't do anything but build his business. And yes, it does. Sorry. In French, we say I have a frog in my throat. It yields result because it is still a way to get result in this world. But I think that as we evolve, there is something else that we need to start considering. Anyway, I'll get back to that. Um, two, about HSPs inside that model. As HSPs, all our lives, I mean, this world is not designed for us. We don't fit in. It is not aligned with how we think or how our body functions, our nervous system, and our spirit, our soul. Wow. Sorry. Oh, I wasn't covering it. I wanted. um, so, what we end up doing all our lives is contorting ourselves into pretzels or chipping away at ourselves as square pegs trying to fit in a square hole. And we do it because the way the society is built right now, we do it because it's the only way that we feel we can survive with the demands of this world and having to make money and to fit and to function and all these things. But when we do that, and most of us were HSPs, we're born that way. We've done that all our lives, subconsciously, and then later consciously, now that we're aware of all this. And the crazy thing is, what we do is that we betray our design all our lives. I say, as one of the metaphors I like, is that we highly sensitive people are like Formula Ones living in a world of ATVs or quads, off rail, off trail, and four wheelers. And as Formula Ones, and what we have done all our lives is take our Formula One onto those off road trails. And then we wonder why we break and we crash and we collapse. And we have done that our entire lives. So, as an HSP, it's kind of understandable how come we have learned that as our modus operandi, like this push, 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 because we've been pushing our Formula One onto off road trails. And then, of course, we are going to crash. And I like to say, and I know that nature or God doesn't create anything by mistake. And the way we are designed, I was thinking that earlier, it's like what kind of life would an elephant live if it tried all its life to climb trees? I mean, we have a nature that is ours. I don't want to say we're elephants, but we're elephants trying to climb trees. And it's exhausting. And we're going to try, 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 and then we're going to crash. And it just how it is. It's true. Hi, everyone. Hello, Regina. Um, so, what we do, just like if we continue with the Formula One analogy, is that we run our engine to the ground and our the body of the vehicle gets scratched and damaged and broken. And it's what we do. We run our nervous system to the ground, to the point of collapse, over and over and over again, because we try to fit in this world so desperately, because there is no alternative world right now for us to be in. And let me pull up some of my ideas. And when we do that, as highly sensitive people, we develop chronic illness. And there's many studies now that are out that show that highly sensitive people have a higher percentage or chance of developing chronic illness. And it's associated with the fact that suppressing who we are, our true nature, is very, very stressful on our immune system. And therefore, our immune system is compromised, and we develop, either we catch things or things that are pre-existing in us that we have an, an availability for express themselves, and so we get to have a lot more chronic illness. So as an HSP, wait, what do I have here? Right. So when you're an HSP and you've lived with chronic illness, it totally reinforces, like 100 times, this pushing and crashing scenario. Because when you're sick long term, decades, years, however long, anytime that we feel better, we feel like we have so much to catch up on, and we want to prove to ourselves and prove to the world, hey, hey, I'm here, I can do this, watch me go. And so we push until, chronic illness comes back with a vengeance, a flare up, and then we crash, and then we cannot be in this world the way we want to. So those are the three things, the society that glorifies hard work and blood, sweat, and tears, as an HSP, just trying to fit in, and how much we try to prove ourselves that we belong, ends up that we compromise our nervous system, and we end up crashing because we're an elephant trying to climb trees and we're going to fall. And then the third thing is that when you're an HSP with a chronic illness, well, it's the hat trick. Is that what it's called? Um, it's just like the winter circumstances that you are definitely going to experience the pushing and crashing scenario. So doing that is absolutely exhausting, which is why some of my videos where I talk about exhaustion, a lot of people can relate. And when we do that, the sad thing is that we not only abandon and betray ourselves profoundly, and then it takes us forever to find us, because in fact we have disappeared ourselves and we've become an amalgam of something else that is not who we are. And then everything kind of comes crashing down, nothing makes sense, and we look for meaning in life, because how could, and the inauthentic us that we've come to live as, find meaning? It just doesn't jive, and it can't happen. So we all end up burnt out, exhausted, and crashing. Whether your cycle is within one day, or a week, or every year you have a serious burnout that you have to crash for 3 months, whatever. I think it's still a pattern that is very, very common to HSP. And we know that we have to learn, we really don't like this, but I'll use it here. We know that we have to learn a new way to live, but the thing is that this new way to live cannot be more adaptation. Um, I'm losing myself a little bit here. Right. It can't be more adaptation because that doesn't yield anything good, but we have to find a new way within the circumstances that we have in our lives and that are this world and that do not support ease for us. Because even though I do believe HSPs are here to change the world and move it forward and that we are leading evolution, in our lives today and next week, the world is still going to be what it is. And we're not going to change the system of the world. So we have to find a way to live that allows us to get back to ourselves, reconnect with our truth, with our authenticity, and find a way to live that supports more ease and that will move us away from this pushing and crashing cycle. Um, I'm in the process, if you will. It's not new in my life. I've been contemplating this for a long time, but of late, I am in the process of reevaluating my own belief because I still see it show up. And with my awareness today, it's like, and my new way of moving through life, I'm seeing it. So I'm reconsidering my belief that it's hard work is the road to success. So in some videos in the past, I talked about quantum presence, where is some kind of it. Those are very overused words, but a letting go, a surrender in the moment, and to connect with the isness of things that tells the elephant not to try to climb trees, and that will whisper inspirations of things to do. So this is inside this time that I'm in. This is when I got this message from isness, from God, from my higher self, source, universe, the field, whatever you call it, that the way to change my way of living was with those simple words. And some of you have heard me talk about it before. Those of you who are in my community, you're there because of that. And it's doing it from a motivation of because I love myself. Maybe it can seem kind of anodyne. I think it's also an English word. Um, or tried to say that like it's got no legs. But when we say that to ourselves and come from that place, there is a shift that happens that moves us from pushing to exist and contort ourselves for this world to coming from a different place from within ourselves. And when I heard that, it was, and I don't know if you, I know some of you have, but it felt like what I said before, that we need to find a way to live within our circumstances. And those words to me brought me to a place where I could still do what I need to do to be in this world, but I could infuse it with a different energy that is aligned and fuels my values, which, as an HSP, because we are so closely connected, like the veil is thinner between us and our souls, and those values, uh, the big one, the header one, is love. So the because I love myself comes as a message from our soul level rather than this society to inspire us to move through the world from a different place. And I wanted to bring up something that happened in my life. And it's like, I know it fits, but I don't exactly know how it fits, but I'm just going to say it. Um, when I developed ulcerative colitis when I was 11 years old, and when in my late teens, at some point I was extremely sick, and I remember, and of course, I was doing some of the alternative medicine, but also with traditional medicine because of the level of my sickness. And the point is that I remember thinking to myself, if I could only go to a monastery for 6 months or for a year, I would not be sick anymore. And of course, back then it wasn't, now it wouldn't seem like such an outlandish idea. But back then, not in my family, it certainly was not something that was even, that I couldn't even say, like I could barely say it to myself. I could not say it out loud, and it wouldn't have gone anywhere anyways. But even then, without tools, I had a knowing that the chronic illness that I had, my body being sick, was not caused by my physical body, but that it had a source that was of a different frequency, a misalignment between my true me and my soul, and that it was this split of living that way, the pain that it was creating, that was actually causing my disease. So I knew that my disease was a manifestation of something else than just looking at, what poison bug spray were sprayed all through my youth in my house and all this. Other people didn't get the disease for whatever, that's just one possibility. But other people in my family didn't get the disease. I did. Why? Because I was an HSP, suppressed my true nature, and whatever was attacking me, I didn't have the defenses for. But I feel that as I felt then, that the physical problems and disruptions I had in my body was a misalignment. I feel it is the same nowadays with the anxiety, the depression, people who have chronic illness. It's because there's a part of us that we do not access, that has still been repressed. I talked about it in my last Sunday video, which is feeling trapped, and it talks about this her that we have inside us, that we have caged all our lives, and that is our radiant self that wants to come out and is calling to be liberated. And I believe that if we live and be connected to her, and if she is free, she is kind of this, I see her as like a demigod that is emerging of being human with personality and physical expression and all that, and the divine essence kind of in here together. So it's different than just wanting God to come in. For me, this demigoddess that we have inside, it's the merging. So I like to think of her because she is also human, and I'm here as a spirit having a human experience. And I believe that perfecting our humanity is actually living from that merging. So the the because I love myself, it works for us highly sensitive people because it fulfills the purpose of our soul, it's like this direct communication from our soul to our action, and it can guide us through the things that we have to do. So again, it's not that we will end up not doing the things we have to do in this world. Our circumstances will still demand and require certain things of us. But if it's infused from that refreshing breath that can move through us rather than in from the toxic world outside us, I really believe it can shift us deeply. To me, that those words that maybe if you're not a highly sensitive person, I'm pretty sure you can't understand it. But just saying because I love myself, it is beyond a statement. I hear it like a reminder that my soul is whispering to me. And so it just shifts everything. And as HSPs, we need that because all the motivation of this outside world of have to, because, or of by, from fear of, all these motivations don't work for us. And the only ones that we will respond to without resistance are going to be things that come from love, from our soul. And because I love myself is a mantra that fits the bill so perfectly. So I think that by embodying, accepting and understanding who we are, that we are different, that we can stop trying to climb trees, that we can stop trying to take our Formula Ones onto the trails. Once we accept that and then bring in the because I love myself, I really think that we can move past the pushing and crashing behavior. I believe that this pure soul infusion can actually change our anxiety, depression, and chronic illness because it will start relieving some stress and some feeling that this is a adversary world. I'm not finding the right word here, but it's a word that's coming at us. And once we start feeling like, no, we're here and we're okay, and we hear a new message inside us, I truly think that it can start alleviating all those symptoms and real diseases and mental or physical states of mind, because we start recognizing who we are and connect to our soul, and both these things feel like peace. And inner peace is what liberates us. So I am this because I love myself project was an inspiration, an epiphany that I had just a little over 2 weeks ago, and the whole thing has grown out of it. I have the Annie Circle. For those of you who are not in, I know some of you that are listening live are already in it. But in Annie Circle, I have this 28-day Because I Love Myself project. And it's not a healing class. It's not another technique. It's not another modality. It's a safe container where any circle is for highly sensitive women. So it is a safe container for us to start experimenting and experiencing the energy of because I love myself with daily practices and daily awareness. There's no pressure, there's no judgment. And I really want to say that I am blown away by the beauty, the wisdom, the vulnerability, the support in just like it launched 3 days ago. Today is day 3. And Women are talking to each other, they are posting, and oh my God, some of the things they post are like, hallelujah, and they're inspiring. So, anyway, I invite you to join Annie's Circle. It's where I am present every day. And um, I wanted to add that it was very important to me to make it accessible to as many women as possible. And I didn't want people to have to make choices like I either do this or join any circle, or I didn't want people to have to choose between a supportive community and financial pain. Anyway, it was important to me. So it's $11 a month. It's a monthly subscription. And the events and the programs that I offer are inside, completely included. So if this message of because I love myself spoke to you, one, you can listen to some of my other videos, the past two, three, four, maybe. We're talking a lot about this. And if not, come on over in the circle. Come and see the magic that's developing. Somebody called it a alchemical cauldron. And it's like, I really feel something is brewing, and we are in the beginning of something, a people use that word a lot, radical, but a radical movement of moving through the world with the reasons of because, from the motivation of because I love myself. So it's an invitation for everybody who watches the videos and inside this one, inside the circle, but watches the video. I get a lot of comments. I want to tell you, I read them all. They move me often to tears. Sometimes I read some just to find peace and go to bed. Before I go to bed, I don't have time. I wish I did to answer all of them, but I read them all. And if I don't give you a little heart like I've seen it, it's often because I intend to go back to answer to you, and then time goes by, I get more and I forget. But thank you for being willing to open up and to be part of this. So I love you. Come and see me and so many other amazing women in Annie's Circle after the live is over. The link, of course, is going to be in the description. Bye. I wonder, just as we are here still live, sorry for people who are watching the replay, but if anybody feels like sharing anything, or maybe you will do in the comments, which would be great, because this way other people can also see what you thought of some of the ideas that you heard, and if this pushing and crashing is something that you relate to. So anyway, again, bye. I will see you soon.